Hello everyone and welcome back to our English learning session. I hope you are doing great today and ready to improve your language skills. Let me start with a quick question for you. Have you ever felt confused when using phrasal verbs like call off, call on, and call for? If yes, then this lecture is exactly what you need. Language becomes powerful when we understand not just individual words, but how they combine to create meaning. One of the most important parts of English communication is phrasal verbs. These are combinations of a verb and a preposition or adverb that create a new meaning, often very different from the original verb. Today's lecture focuses on three commonly used phrasal verbs that often confuse learners: call off, call on, and call for. At first glance, they may look similar because they all begin with the verb call, but their meanings, usage, and contexts are very different. By the end of this lecture, you will clearly understand how to use each of them correctly and confidently in your speaking and writing. Let us begin by understanding the base word call. The word call generally means to shout, to phone someone, or to give something a name. However, when we add different prepositions like off, on, and for, the meaning changes completely. This is the beauty and challenge of phrasal verbs in English. Let us start with call off. The phrasal verb call off means to cancel something. It is used when an event, plan, meeting, or activity is stopped or decided not to happen. The reason could be anything such as bad weather, an emergency, lack of preparation, or any unexpected situation. The structure of call off is simple. It is usually used with an object. For example, call off the meeting, call off the event, call off the match. Now let us explore the meaning in more depth. When you call something off, it means that it was planned earlier but is now cancelled. This implies that people were expecting it to happen, but due to certain reasons, it will not take place anymore. Common contexts where call off is used include events like weddings, meetings, sports matches, trips, and negotiations. It is very common in both formal and informal English. They had to call off the match because of heavy rain. The company decided to call off the meeting due to an emergency. She called off her wedding at the last moment. The school called off classes because of extreme weather conditions. The manager called off the project after reviewing the budget. One important thing to remember is that call off is separable. This means you can say call the meeting off or call off the meeting. Both are correct. However, when using pronouns, you must place them in the middle. For example, call it off is correct, but call off it is incorrect. Now let us move to call on. This phrasal verb has a completely different meaning. Call on means to visit someone, to formally ask someone to speak, or to request help or action from someone. This phrasal verb has multiple meanings depending on the context, which makes it very important to understand carefully. First meaning of call on is to visit someone, usually for a short time. This is often used in formal or polite contexts. Second meaning is to ask someone to speak or answer something, especially in a classroom or meeting setting. Third meaning is to request or demand something from someone, often used in formal or official language. I will call on my grandmother this weekend. The teacher called on me to answer the question. The president called on citizens to remain calm during the crisis. She called on her friends for support during difficult times. The manager called on the team to improve their performance. It is important to note that call on is not separable. You cannot say call someone on in the same way you separate call off. Instead, the structure remains fixed as call on someone. Also, the tone of call on can be formal or respectful. It is often used in speeches, official statements, classrooms, and polite conversations. Now let us move to the third phrasal verb, call for. This one is also very important and widely used. Call for means to require something, to demand something, or to publicly ask for something to happen. The meaning depends on the context, but it usually involves a need, necessity, or strong request. First meaning of call for is to require or need something. For example, a situation may call for immediate action. Second meaning is to demand or publicly request something, often used in formal or serious contexts. Third meaning can also be to go and collect someone, although this usage is less common. This situation calls for immediate attention. The workers are calling for better working conditions. The recipe calls for 2 cups of sugar. The crisis calls for strong leadership. She will call for you at 8 p.m. Call for is also not separable. You cannot break it like call something for. The structure remains consistent. Now that we have discussed each phrasal verb in detail, let us compare them to understand the differences clearly. Call off means to cancel something. Call on means to visit, request, or ask someone to speak or act. Call for means to require, demand, or request something. They called off the meeting means the meeting is cancelled. They called on the manager means they asked the manager to speak or act. They called for a meeting means they demanded or requested a meeting. Many learners confuse these phrasal verbs because they look similar. Incorrect: the situation calls off action. Correct: the situation calls for action. Incorrect: they called on the event. Correct: they called off the event. Incorrect: call off it. Correct: call it off. Always focus on context. Practice with real-life examples. Listen to native speakers. Revise regularly. Fill in the blanks with call off, call on, or call for. The teacher will blank you to answer the question. The event was blank due to rain. This job blank great responsibility. Correct answers are call on, called off, and calls for. In today's lecture, we explored 3 important phrasal verbs: call off, call on, and call for. We learned that call off means to cancel something, call on means to visit or request someone to act or speak, and call for means to require or demand something. Each of these phrasal verbs has its own unique meaning and usage, and understanding them can significantly improve your English communication skills. Thank you so much for watching this lesson. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful English lessons. Keep practicing every day because consistency is the key to fluency. Also, let me know in the comments which phrasal verb or topic you would like to learn next. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep speaking English with confidence.